They only tell you what they want you to know. You gotta study, study, study on your own. That's only half the story, their story. His story is not our story. Secret societies and they secrets we. How everything under the heavens on the earth for we. That's only half the story, their story. His story is not our story. Secret societies and they secrets we.
And I think it goes back to what Dr. Kim was saying. Sometimes our young people, no offense young people, don't realize the challenges that their forebears had. That there were, we were in Hidden Figures, and you read the book, this was the black group over here, and there was the white computing group over here. They didn't mix. They didn't get together. They were separate groups, and they were not going to be put in this place. And again, when they talked about the woman who really said, I'll get that guy to the moon, I will do it. What I liked was their, as the doctors would talk about, they had such a commitment to work. Because if you read the book, they didn't stay in their jobs. They recognized that their careers were going to change, and that particularly mathematics was changing. And they kept up because they wanted to keep up with that kind of profession. This was their profession. But again, as we find out, when I was looking at Dr. Kim's resume and Dr. Warren's resume, they have their names on papers, proudly there, because they did the work. But when you read Hidden Figures, you find out one of the women, I don't know which one, but she was the first woman to get her name on one of those scientific papers. The first woman. And she had to fight for that. Now we see that, I won't say it's completely commonplace, but women of my generation have seen more of that. And maybe that we work a little harder, but they can find their names there. But she couldn't do it. And she had to fight to even be called an engineer. She was called a mathematician. I mean, if you go through civil service or whatever, they had, she had to do a lot more to get that title of engineer than any of the men did. Absolutely, that any of the men did. She had to do something separate to get that title of engineer. So it is such a wonderful book. But maybe I want to ask you, do you have any hidden figures here in Trenton that we don't talk about? People who really have changed the lives, or changed careers of people, but they go to church with you. They're your neighbors, but you really don't recognize the incredible story that they gave. Yes?
Yes, I have one. Beverly Mills is the first African-American woman in the city of Trenton. For a town that's less than 1% African-American, to vote her in without any complaint is a really huge accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other examples? I mean, many of you grew up in Trenton. I did not grow up in Trenton, but certainly the stories of how the schools had to be desegregated in the mid-50s is quite a story. That Trenton has its own hidden figures of those women who got this school segregated in Trenton. And I think we sit here and say, Trenton was never that way, was it? Yes, it was. So you understand the challenges in a much personal way that those women in Hidden Figures faced. They were in a segregated world. What I wonder again, why we lost, maybe when the men came home from war, women didn't get to work as much and opportunities. I just wonder, I just would like somebody's thoughts though. Do you think a woman was more of a challenge or being an African American? Or both? Both? In terms of their society, yes.
I could differ. I never thought of myself too much as being a woman until I got in like my 30s. I'm just saying, I don't know about everybody else. I think that's a personal, like, I always felt I was black first. That's just me. I can't speak for other people, but I have to just throw that out there.
Because I think when you had a group of women who were facing both of those challenges, influenced their life further, but we always think through a black foot, and that's those challenges.
No, I actually agree. I'm in the human resources field, and one of the reasons I became a human resource professional is because as I was in the regular workforce in the banking industry, trying to succeed, I found that there was nobody that I could talk to that understood some of my struggles, where I was looked at differently just because I was black. I was smarter, I was doing more, I was doing better, but I wasn't being given the opportunity. And to go and then try to talk to a bunch of women in HR, but they're not black. So when I wanted to say, hey, I just think that this person's intimidated, they couldn't understand either. And if I made a career change, I needed to be somebody on the opposite side. So it wasn't about being a woman, it was about being black.
And there's one of the characters in the book that talks about changing part of her path to be a mentor, more in terms of becoming a mentor, even stepping below her engineering career to go into HR to be much more of a mentor kind of period. And I think the three women that we have had here today, who are hopefully never hidden women, will tell us that. Yes, Dr. Warren.
I just want to go back to your question about hidden figures in the community. The movie was, of course, about the science, the endeavor of African American women to realize their dreams in this career. But if you notice, the movie also had another sort of theme, and we got glimpses through like these videos of the mothers behind these women. And those hidden figures that are never really acknowledged. If you will look at Taraji P. Henson's mother, when she's sitting at that table, you know that woman has fought long and hard for her daughter to have the opportunities that she had. She sat at that tired table. Taraji P. Henson even came home and took care of her girls, telling them about their potential. Then we looked at, what's it, Jeanne Monet, the other? Yes. She had a family. So while the movie, of course, had this overarching narrative about hidden figures in the public sphere, there was also this narrative being portrayed about the hidden figures that support and nurture and build these women and men behind the scenes in the more private sphere.
How you doing today, sister?
I'm fine.
Will you introduce yourself real quick to the folks?
My name is Dr. Jennifer Warren. I am a Trentonian. I live in West Trenton. I'm also an assistant professor at Rutgers University and the executive director of the Housing, Health, and Wellness Task Force located here in Trenton, New Jersey.
Executive, sister, how are you? Professional, very professional. I used to work for a guy, he used to call me executive, professional, all the time. Can you explain us a little bit more of your field of doctorate?
Okay, well, I actually have a Doctor of Philosophy degree, and that's a degree that's different from an MD, medical doctor, or some other type of doctor. We deal more with knowledge making, idea generation, theories and models about how the world should work, but my field is health communication, and what I focus on in my particular day-to-day work, how to utilize communication to reduce and even eradicate health disparities. So we look at human behavior, and for me, in communities, lower income, predominantly African American communities, about how folks are working together, and how we can better study, let's say, access to health information, access to health care, access to medicine, utilizing a communication framework in that way. So it sounds a little complicated, but it's just the study of human behavior to affect health in a positive way.
So basically you're a doctor of how we behave and how it affects our health.
In some, I'm a social scientist. That's what we're called.
So like how the other sister was talking about engineering, so you like a social engineer because you creating some of the ways that we operate this stuff, correct?
Absolutely.
Or you're assisting in the formation of these
I would say
systems.
I would say that we are actually creating or helping to contribute to the engineering of social reality. The information that we provide is then integrated into what we know. And the goal is the information that we provide, the products that we provide will offer new and better ways to go about living our day-to-day reality. So it is social reality engineering. And sometimes it's done good, sometimes it's done bad, and I hope that I'm able to contribute in a way that is helpful to our communities.
It's wonderful speaking about these fields that are little known, because, you know, one of the things I noticed when I was younger, it's not a lack of opportunity, but it's knowing that you have those opportunities, because the opportunities are there. It's just the knowledge of them are limited, because, you know, in our community, a lot of us go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, but then be a doctor and everybody's mind is I'm gonna go help people who's healing. And it's good to know that there's other areas where we could touch. You want to tell us a little bit about your personal struggle becoming a doctor? Any setbacks or uncomfortable feelings that you would like to discuss real quick that you got through?
The biggest obstacle I have encountered from the time I was an undergraduate at New York University. Actually, I started at Mercer County Community College, which was actually the best years of my life in my college time. Then I went to NYU. From NYU, I went to Penn State University and State College. Then I went to University of Minnesota Medical School. And the biggest thing that I've discovered when I started entering these traditional Caucasian universities was just out and out racism. And there were other struggles, but the sort of intensity with which racism becomes real as you go up in master's and PhD is overwhelming. And if you are not understanding of how that racism evolves and can erode your ability to be promoted, to finish your dissertation, to finish your master's, if you don't understand the roadblocks that could be put in front of you, it could be very detrimental to your to anyone's progress in higher ed. And that's been the most salient aspect of my tenure in academia, and one for which I'm right now writing a book called Ivory Tower Hypocrisy, Intellectual Linking and the Relentless Pursuit of Academic Freedom, because there is a power struggle going on between black and white knowledge. And as we know, in America, white supremacist sort of ideologies and understandings of our reality it's the air we breathe. And when we, African Americans and any other people of color, decide to enter into this knowledge generation, it becomes very problematic, because they set the standard. And if we don't fit what they think is knowledge or fits what they want to create, they begin to systematically undermine your ability to get done what you need to get done so you can graduate and get jobs. So you have to be aware of that. And I have to continually be aware of that in the field that I'm in. And I hate to go there, but it's real.
Well, life is real, and we're dealing with the real aspects of life. And not dealing with it is worse than acknowledging it and dealing with it. 'Cause not dealing with it, it just festers and builds up. And it turns to dis-ease as far as physical in the minds and the bodies of the people, in the activity, and then it also dis-ease in the social structure of the country and the world.
And let me just say this, they're not going to teach you about you at school. You go into Africana Studies or some other niche sort of department, but if you're going into a general field like communication or engineering, they're not going to teach you about you. So you are absent in the discussion unless you bring it in. And when you bring it in, that's a challenge to the system. And so you have to do it in the right ways, and you got to be strong about it, because they will fight you tooth and nail for what you believe is important for you to understand your reality. They have their tools. We need to be building our own tools to understand our reality.
The sister from the Friends of the Librarian, she asked a question earlier about the struggle between being a woman and a quote-unquote African-American. So you answered that you know that you were black first and you felt that first. Anything that you would like to express about that?
Well, I think I agree that being black is foregrounded in my experience Gender is an issue when it really comes, I think, to social relationships, but the idea of me being black, first and foremost, already sort of sets me up against some obstacles and barriers that are placed in policy that just are there to ensure that advancement for African Americans is not something that is easy. So, you know, I'm black first, I'm woman second because I am a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, so that is there, but the blackness seems to foreground or moderate, to use a scientific term. It moderates my experience. It comes first, and then being a woman mediates it in the middle, kind of carries it along. So, but you know what? I'm here, I'm growing, I'm doing what I gotta do. I'm excited, I'm happy to be talking to you all, to be talking to the reporter, and it's a good day. It's a good day for all of us.
And we thank you, sister, and we
Yes.
appreciate it. I just want to make mention real quick. You said a couple things that definitely like hit home with me. Like I subscribe to a school of thought where we consider ourselves Moorish Americans, and we consider ourselves Moorish Americans.
Yes.
And there's a brother named Dr. Jose V. Pimenta Bay, and he did a piece of work, of book work, of academia study that he published, and his whole reason for publishing it was to prove through academic studies some of the I would say the mythology that we cling to within our community as Moorish Americans.
Yes.
So even in his
Wow.
writing, you could hear how he's fighting to prove
Yeah.
this and that and to prove. So when you're saying that, it's like it's coming out to me exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like you're fighting to prove that you belong and what you include and what your culture is including within the sciences. You have to prove that through many, many details. It's not just accepted easily.
And it's valid.
Yeah,
That
and
it's
it's
to
extremely
prove that
valid.
it's valid.
Right.
In academia, it's called the ghettoization of ideas. And in many departments, they have black folks. They have black folks like us. But when we go and study black things, social disparities, urban environments, black health, it's ghettoized. It's not seen as mainstream study within that department. It's cast off as being, oh yeah, she just does that. So that's the term that most every African American scholar in academia knows, is the ghettoization of black scholarship.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, y'all just learned something. Y'all just learned something.
Yeah, ghettoization.
This is what. So now, when y'all see them people with the books and they walking through the hood, don't make no fun of them.
Don't.
Cause they got a hard time on their own. They, a lot of times they trying to help you out. You be surprised.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You supposed to put like in the old days we used to protect our great minds. Nowadays we seem to ridicule them. You know, so we need to stop following others and ridiculing those who are intelligent and protect our great minds, like the sister here,
Yes. Dr. Warren, Jennifer Warren.
Dr. Jennifer Warren. Thank you very much, sister.
Thank you. God bless.